Great.
So this is the Lenovo ThinkPad Tablet. It's a 10-inch tablet, and it carries the name ThinkPad, so you can expect it's durable. It's got Gorilla Glass, and I'm not afraid to do that. It's got a full array of ports, which we heard from our user base was table stakes for this device. So it's got a full USB port, and that USB port actually is used to dock into our portable keyboard, another innovation we added to this device, because we feel sometimes you're going to need to do some typing that's a little more intensive than what you're going to want to do on the screen. The device also has a mini HDMI port, a proprietary docking port for the docking and charging stand, a headphone and microphone jack, and a USB, mini USB, which we use for data charging.
Great.
And then, like most Android devices, it's a wrap it on, wrap it off, or you can go into a hard turn-off mode if you like as well.
So you were going to explain a little bit about the security functions of the device, because it is meant for, it is really an enterprise-ready device.
Yeah, when Lenovo brands a product with the Think name, we're aiming that at an enterprise device. We have an array of tablets in our Idea line that are aimed at a consumer market, but this device is aimed at a corporate enterprise or a business user. And from a security point of view, there's a couple things we've done to the interface and to the hardware that we feel make it a better security, a better secured device in the marketplace. One of the most unique is we have a CompuTrace persistent agent on this device. So even if you root it, reload it, clean it off, the agent persists. So by enabling that CompuTrace, you can trace your device and you can send a kill pill to it. So if you have proprietary data on this thing, you have a CFO or a CEO walking around with the corporation's most valuable assets, their information, you can kill that device from an IT manager's console just like that. The other thing that it does is not only can the device fully encrypt, but we can force, through security protocols, full encryption of any of the ports. So the USB port, if you put a memory key on it, or the full SD card slot, which is behind this little window, you can also force encryption on that. So the idea is that even if there's data on here, users can't knowingly or unknowingly move data that needs to be encrypted away. This is a great advantage for the medical profession, where they have to, in the US, meet HIPAA, and in Canada, meet PIPEDA on how to store confidential medical information for your clients. So this is where really an IT manager really likes our device, really says you guys are shining in this space. So if you think of this device, it's not a Windows device. You can't ghost these things. You don't have a lot of the tools and infrastructure that we've been using in IT for forever to deploy and manage endpoint assets, PC-type assets. It doesn't really work for these devices. So we've built into this Android device a number of provisioning capabilities. So an IT manager with a console can then deploy security standards, those security protocols around encryption I talked about, forcing a password, even down to the point where we can offer customers a customized app store where the enterprise says only these blessed or secure applications can be used on the device versus kind of free-for-all, whatever you want. And so instead of having to send a person with a memory key and do some preloading on each one of these devices that gets provisioned out into the marketplace, Lenovo Think tablets can be provisioned wirelessly over air. So the first time the user logs on and uses their Active Directory password, which is what most corporations use, we can deploy out those certifications, those standards. And we can keep updating them, as this one does on a regular basis with any improvements, bug fixes, etc., etc. And
so it's also got some accessories. You mentioned the stylus, but you've got a Bluetooth keyboard there as well.
It's actually, this is not Bluetooth. It's actually a hard, USB dock. We looked at Bluetooth, but frankly, it was going to be a battery killer. So because you're going to have a physical want to connect here anyway, there was no reason why we didn't use the full USB port. And we have a USB port, so why not use it? So you put the thing in the docking device, and it basically has a full QWERTY keyboard for use. It even has an optical trackpad. So people familiar with our ThinkPad, recognize that iconic red pointing device. This one isn't the same as what's on a ThinkPad. This is a digital device. It'd be closer to the pointing device on a BlackBerry. in terms of its use, and then there's full mouse buttons in it. Now, if you're going to do email, this might be an easier way, and the experience is much like people are used to with a pointer and the ability to kind of use a full-size keyboard. But just as fast, if you want to pop out, you pop out of the device, and you're ready to go with the traditional slate usage model.
So here's a closer look at the keyboard. There's even shortcut keys at the top of that keyboard, which is pretty neat.
So that's our ThinkPad home screen, and we didn't do a lot on the look and feel of Android. It's a pretty smooth and easy to use operating system. We did add this kind of launch center in the middle, and basically it lets the users customize 4 areas, and plus the middle quadrant is the web browsers. I have linked up my Gmail account. It gives a lot of the access in Android, and a lot of the usage in Android is tied to that Gmail ID. So I've linked my email that way. Music player and video player, which are the most common uses I've found for this device, kind of when I want to do quick launch, aside from my email and things like that.
So you've also got a front-facing webcam up here?
Yeah.
And does it have a rear-facing webcam as well?
It does.
Okay.
So the product has webcams on either side, so you can do this sort of activity, or you could take video out in the world. So mobile is a pretty simple one here, so we'll just start a new book. And basically what this app lets you do, but you could use the pen for many different activities. But you can type, and I've got it set now to turn that to text, and that's the setting here in the top. However, sometimes you maybe don't want to try to do a text conversion, so you can convert to the doodle mode, if you will. And maybe if you want to do something more graphical, looking to do some quick hands, charts, pie chart, whatever, you can do that as well. And then you can erase the pieces you don't want. So just like your scratch pad, just like your notepad, change the page. Your finger works as well, as I mentioned, but if you, just going to go back to the doodle, I talked about this before, if you press lightly or harder, you get different grades of activities. So the pen is great for taking notes, activities, but digital signature capture is now much more prevalent. It's now recognized as okay for contracts. When you go to your Home Depot, you do a digital signature capture on your credit card. And so more and more applications that want to utilize that sort of a transaction or that sort of signature, it's really hard to sign your name with your finger, right? It's not the easiest thing in the world, but we're very used to this, so that's an easy activity.
That's really cool. So there's a couple hard buttons at the bottom there as well. Those are just back to the home screen. And
yeah, so these are similar to the buttons you'd see on the soft buttons in Android, but in some cases we felt it was important to have a physical hard button. So there's the home screen, return, back, open the browser, and then you can lock the orientation of the device physically if you want to. So some cases you don't want it to automatically switch orientation on you, so you just put the lock on, and then it will not do that. We've got kind of 3 core models here in the Canadian channel, so a 16, 32, and a 64 size memory capacity. Surprisingly, the 64 has been doing really well. We didn't think anybody was going to. We didn't think that was going to be as strong as it was, but people are going big on that device for sure. So those devices are available from any of our distributors, through any of our partners, and we're currently waiting for certification from CRTC and get able to launch our 3G models, which will use an Ericsson card to support the Canadian standard, different from the US where they use a Gobi. So we're waiting for the certifications, and then those are ready.